So there we go. So, hey guys, Charles Sparks here, Berkshire Hathaway, in the northern Colorado area, and today I've got a kind of a fun little session here with Aundrelyn with Peterson and Plum Staging. I believe I got that right, and I got Adam here with Next Door Photography. So, of course, Adam's a great photographer in the area, does a lot of professional shoots on my listing, and Aundrelyn is awesome when it comes to staging homes and of course helping sellers to getting their home ready to, whether it's be staged or I assume provide a checklist, and that way the seller can go through and kind of do it everything you tell them to do. So let's Aundrelyn, do you want to give kind of just a brief rundown of your company and where you're located and what you can offer for sellers and agents?
Sure. So I have been in real estate for 20 years. I sold real estate in Los Angeles for a long time. And my favorite part was always staging. I loved getting the home ready for sale. And then I kind of just didn't want to do anything else. So I've been doing full-time staging in Fort Collins for 4 years. I've built up quite an inventory of furnishings. I think because I've been in real estate so long, I come to the table with a unique perspective. I'm not necessarily looking at it from a designer's point of view, but a buyer's point of view, and how a buyer is going to perceive the property when they walk through. So when I'm talking to clients, I basically say, I'm going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you why. And it may not make sense for life because we don't live like that, but for a photograph, it's going to make more sense. So photographs are the first place that people find your home online. And you have like one chance to capture their attention. So we walk through the property. I tell you to move furniture or things, or, take things out, put things in, rearrange things that, again, may not make sense, but are going to make a better photo. And in that process, I think people really do understand why we're doing this. The National Association of Realtors says that buyers will pay 6 to 10% more for the perceived value of a staged home, which, we're emotional creatures and we like to see beautiful things. And staging is a bit of a distraction because every home has flaws, right? And we don't want to hand those flaws to the buyer on a silver platter. So it's a little bit of like, oh, look at the pretty stuff, or look at this room feels really comfortable. It flows. I can walk through here really easily. And then they can tell you all the things that are wrong with the house. But we got to get them excited about it first. So that's kind of where I come from.
Awesome. Very, very good. And Adam, what about you? Can you give a brief introduction to your company, where you're located, kind of the areas you work, and kind of so forth?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I appreciate it. So in Northern Colorado, I personally live in Fort Collins, been in Loveland also, back up this way. We really work all over Northern Colorado. I think we kind of have a team around, and so kind of even work some in the Denver metro. Part of our team is we have our own in-house but kind of global editing team that they're actually primarily made up of women and folks that are high risk. Oftentimes they've been victims of human trafficking. We actually they're part of our editing team, and so we get to be a kind of a part of their restoration, which is a really rad part of what we get to do. It's also a great piece for you as a realtor, because we can offer great turnaround, great delivery, etc. On that media, which is obviously super important even for the sellers themselves. Typically you're maybe getting a call today and they want it on the market, yesterday or something. So, Aundrelyn's part of that. If we can be a part of that, that is just a really easy part of that call, getting something listed. Our team really kind of makes that possible as well. So great availability, great turnaround, and a really great cause. It's cool.
That is one thing I've been, besides for the quality of your photos, I've been super impressed with turnaround. Usually, on the single family homes that are 25, 30 pictures, it seems like I get those within 24 hours or less. So that's been awesome to have.
Yeah.
Let's talk for a minute about, with COVID and everything else, and kind of, people have to take extra precautions. Let's talk about video for a second, and maybe both of you guys can weigh in on this, but I've seen a lot more video this year than ever before, just, with floor plans of the homes, with video tours, and we a lot of times will do the Matterport 3D videos, but have you seen that in your industry as well?
For me, it's exponentially different. It's so much more important to capture someone's attention in a picture, in a video. If
Yeah.
they can't go and actually see the home, how
Yeah.
else are you going to sell it? So, I mean, having those, for me, it's also about flow. You have to be able to, even with a video camera, walk through a home, not run into a sofa, not run it. You have to have a very well curated platform to do a good video. Otherwise, you're seeing the back of a couch and some
Yeah.
things that don't make sense.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
totally. Yeah, I think just in general, even kind of what Aundrelyn's saying is, the general marketing has changed a lot. When people can show up to a house and feel really comfortable with that, or sellers feel totally fine, people tromping through their house, all weekend long or whatever. Um, 25 photos might get somebody in the door. And that's just less of a thing now, with so many people wanting to stay home, maybe even, regulations not allowing them to get out, etc. So certainly additional marketing beyond photos has been a big deal. And yeah, I mean, video is certainly a big part of that. The other part of that is we can correct a lot in photos that would take a lot more work to correct in video.
Yeah.
That is to say, we can edit out, a little something in photos quite easily, which is just not really doable in video. So it's
Yeah.
just another important piece of kind of what Aundrelyn does, that before step in getting that house ready, for video to be effective. It can maybe backfire at times if it's like, oh boy, this, what's happening here? I didn't see this in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
So anyways.
Andrea, maybe you can answer this one. So, of course, coming into the holidays, a lot of people make plans to put their home on the market, January, February of next year. What are some of the steps that a seller could take, if they know they're going to be putting their home on the market in a month from now or 2 months from now? What are some of the first things that you would advise them to start working on,
Yeah.
today?
So my top three things are paint, flooring, and light fixtures. If you can focus on those three things, those are going to give you probably the most value, the most return. You're not going to remodel your kitchen or do anything like
Yeah.
that. Paint goes a long way. Neutral palettes, carpeting, flooring, whatever, that goes a long way too. And then light fixtures. Light fixtures, if you have a house that's just a box room with a bed and a table and what's the only other thing they get to look at is that light fixture.
Yeah.
So if you could just spend a few dollars making that something stand out. So many houses in this area are, same floor plan, right? You see the tract developments and they've got, how do you stand out? How do you be different online to have someone go, oh, that one's cool and different. I've seen that floor plan 10 times, but this one has this really cool light fixture,
Yeah.
So I think besides kind of boxing up your stuff and getting ready to move, that's a big part of it. Like let's start clearing stuff
Decluttering.
out.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is really important is paint, floor, and light fixtures.
Yeah, very, very good. And of course, we have a big list of people that can do all that, but I assume you do as well. You
Yeah.
probably have handymen and contractors that you refer out all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My flooring guy is like very good.
Perfect. Yeah. And then of course we have vendors, if people need to, some people are in their homes for 20, 30 years and they just have a ton of stuff. And so they need to get a storage unit, move everything out to get it on the market. And then, so once you're done with your process, Adam, what would you like to see sellers have ready or agents have ready before you show up at a house for the photography? Some of the key points.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't think there's maybe always enough kind of focus on it. We actually have like a pre-shoot checklist that we can send out to you, or you can even send it direct to the sellers. But I mean, light is a big deal. I think what she's getting at with the light fixtures is if it's really dark or bad light fixtures, it makes a big deal. So that is to say, if it's not actually creating light, it's a bad thing. Assuming there's not things you're trying to hide, getting window coverings up and open, making sure that light fixtures have bulbs in them. Ideally, those bulbs are consistent in warmth and brightness, etc. That it's not like a really cold fluorescent bulb over here and like a really warm bulb, and a lamp over here. Some of that stuff can just make a big difference. But I mean, certainly the decluttering thing, I think that part of a piece of the staging or prep that isn't always talked about. I think a lot of people hear staging and they think you're going to bring in all your furniture and, make my house not my own or something. And a lot of times it's just using what is there or, removing what's there, to make it a little more ideal. And so, yeah, if there's some stuff that can be put in boxes. I think the other thing is people think, obviously the idea would be that houses are like totally ready 100% when you get there. If we got to like pull some boxes out of this room and put them in this room, or we shoot this room, it's not a big deal. If it's 20 boxes, it's a big deal. If it's
right.
2 or something, it's not, or, a small piece of furniture, whatever. So, just kind of knowing that there is some fluidity or flexibility there. The other piece is a lot of people are like, oh, I got to have my garage all good to go. Like, well, we probably aren't going to photograph the garage. So just like shove all your stuff in that, in the garage, if you can afford that, make your house presentable. And that's good to go. So those are just kind of like a couple of nuances.
Yeah.
I agree with the decluttering. I think that if someone has that much lead time, like they have a few months before they're getting ready to do something, they can be very thoughtful about their next move. So often we're all panicked at the last moment and we throw things in boxes and we get on the other side and we're like, oh, I moved that. If you can have 3,
Yes.
like, gotta have it, could leave it, goodwill, like, really be methodical about the process of getting on to your next phase. Then you show up clear and clean without,
Yeah.
catch
Leave
up from
behind
last
what you
year.
don't. Yeah.
And to what I love about your company is it's not like we're forcing everybody to stage their home. If we have you go out to the home and they have some nice furniture that you can move around and do your staging consultation of, hey, do this, this, and this, and we can take what you have and use it and make it great. We can kind of speed the process up and make it easier for the seller in that sort of way as well. So that's really
With
nice.
their stuff too, sorry to interrupt. There's another thing that I always try to do is give every room a purpose, because in pictures online, I think buyers sift through photos and they're like bedroom, bathroom, gym, office, shop, like you're making mental notes of all the spaces. And so often when you walk into a home, there's a room that's got a desk and an exercise bike and if every room can have a purpose, it helps that mental MLS flip with like, oh, it has all the rooms I need. And so we often are moving your own stuff from one space to another.
Yeah.
To show that room with a purpose.
Yeah. I can say after I think I've been doing this now about 15 years, and definitely when you walk into a home that has a good flow and the rooms have a purpose, it makes it so much, easier for a buyer to picture themselves living there. And sometimes, we do this every single day and we're in tons of different homes. And so I think sometimes we kind of get numb to it, but a buyer, they go out and it's not like they're shopping and looking at people's homes every day. So sometimes it's hard to have that imagination of, oh, I can do this and I can do that. So having kind of a plan in place. So if a seller can get their home prepped and ready to provide that, that first impression to a buyer, it just goes that much further, really.
Well, and I'd always tell buyers, I'm a fresh set of eyes. I've never seen this. I'm a buyer walking through your house. This is what I'm going to see. This is what the buyer is going to see and how they're going to feel. And I don't have a lot of skin in the game, really. I can just tell you straight up, and I do it with lots of kindness, because nobody wants to be told that their decoration isn't worthy or isn't good. When I show up sometimes at a house, people are like, oh, the stager's here, she's going to judge me, and it's not about that at all. I'm trying to help you sell your house for top dollar. So it's based on lots of experience of what people think is good design or good flow,
100%. And so I gotta ask, so everybody has a smartphone, whether you're iPhone, Android, whatever it may be, and pretty much everyone has a phone with a camera. The cameras are great, but does it drive you nuts ever to see a $400,000 or $500,000 home or $200,000 home? It doesn't matter, and see that the pictures probably came from an iPhone, from an agent, or someone that has no idea how to take pictures?
Yeah. Yeah. for sure. And you know, I think it's shocking how it still happens a good deal. And I think it really shows the difference between, you know, a good agent and a great agent, is the kind of marketing that is willing to be put in, you know. And so I think it's not uncommon, especially in a relatively hot market like Colorado. Like, you might be able to sell the thing with, you know, camera photo or, you know, phone photos, and it, I mean, you do. It's why they keep doing it, because it's working for them. What it doesn't say, what it doesn't represent well, is you as the realtor for that next person you might list their home. You know, it's a reflection, you know, on you know, kind of the realtor as well, of, you know, I'm willing to kind of invest what needs to happen, whether it's a $250,000 listing, I'm going to get professional photos, or if it's a $500,000 listing, you know. So I think that's the kind of like piece that like isn't always connected in the dots. And that, like, yeah, I could sell stuff, you know, with bad photos. Is that the right thing to do? Did you get as much as you could have? You know, how much competition didn't show up because they were like, no thanks, you know, because the marketing is poor. So, you know, I think just professional photos are going to show, are going to get a lot more people skin in the game. And then Aundrelyn mentioned it earlier, but more now than ever, I have old stats, old from 12 months ago, you know, about people buying online, and COVID has just shot that through the roof, where, you know, they're not even showing up on site, or they're really only showing up if they're like real interested. So again, you know, that professional photos, or, you know, marketing in general is gonna could make it or break it, or maybe could get your buyer an extra however many thousand.
Well, I think it for sure helps get more money in their pocket at the end of the day. And but you know, it's crazy is as soon as we take these photos and we put them out there online, and we, through, you know, our different real estate franchises and things, we syndicate everything out to 500, 600, 700 websites. Those, whether they're professional photos or they're crappy photos, those are going everywhere. And then it bleeds over to all of our marketing that we do and the flyers and stuff. So you can imagine what your flyers are going to look like if you have crappy low resolution photos as well.
Totally.
I think it's in kind of a, you know, going a different direction, but you go on, like, let's just say eBay Motors or Auto Trader or something, and you see, you know, whether it's a $15,000 car, 20,000, whatever, pretty much every company that sells even used cars, they have them professionally detailed, like crazy, like really clean. And then they have, you know, the cars are in basically a showroom and a photo booth showroom for professional photos. And this is on a $15,000 car. And so it still shocks me to this day that there are people that sell $500,000 homes, the biggest asset that most people are going to own, and use an iPhone for pictures. That's just crazy to me. Or
why not stage it? Not have somebody actually walk through and kind of tell you how a photo is going to look, because people don't look at their house as if you're going to take a picture of it. They just don't. They live for convenience. And staging and photography in real estate is not about convenience. It's about enticement in a way. It's like, come and check me out. You know?
Right. Well, and the hilarious thing is too, when we live in our spaces, my eyes just sort of glaze over so much in my home, you know. And also we're having company over, you know, last year when we did, when that was still a thing, you know, and you're like, you know, what am I not seeing here? You know, what did my kid throw out that I didn't realize or whatever? And so we'll come in 24 hours, 48 hours after the stager's been there, and we're like, you know, they're still living there. And it's like, can you put this stuff away? You know, and like, you know, it just kind of happens. So, so totally. Yeah. Getting that.
Well, and I also offer 1 hour before photo staging, which is, you know, it does a lot of things. You've been working on this house for a long time as a seller. You're exhausted. You're over it. At this point, you really aren't seeing the details. You're not seeing the little things. You've been told to do these big things, and now you're tired. So if you could walk away from the house for 2 hours, and I come in, I see everything. It's all fresh and new, and I'm looking at it from a picture, right? And then I dress the set basically, and that takes a lot of pressure off of an agent who feels like they have to show up to make sure the photo is good. You know, you've been there. They're like, oh, I don't know if this person's going to do what I told them to do. You're out of it. And then the seller's like, okay, phew, I did my part. I can walk away. And now we dress it for the photo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. One point you mentioned, and we'll wrap this up quick, but you had mentioned a stat about, I think it was National Association of Realtors or something.
Yeah, a 2017 survey they did, and
And what was the percentage?
It's basically 6 to 10% buyers' perceived value goes up by 6 to 10% of a staged home, and they get less concessions because I walk up to a door and I see cobwebs and the lights out and the doormat's 100 years old. You know, as a buyer, I'm starting to make judgments about how well kept this house is. Have they paid attention to all the details? Does the heater work? Does the electrical be up to code? You know what I mean? You're making judgments the minute you step up to the house. So it has so much value, and I can send you the link to that entire report, and it's all about staging. They did in 2017 did a whole survey. So it's the real thing. I mean, you're leaving money on the table if you don't pay attention to that.
For sure. And I don't think any of us would, pull the wool over anyone's eyes and say that selling a home it's for me, I've got, of course, my wife, and we got 4 kids. So when we want to put a home on the market and sell it, it's a process. It's a little bit of pain. I mean, we got to make sure, beds are made every day, toys are picked up, food's off the kitchen counter. And we got to arrange our lifestyle quite a bit for it. But let's take the average price in Fort Collins at, 460, 465, and 6% of that is going to be around 27,000. So I'm quite happy to go through a week or 2 weeks or a month or 2 months of pain of, making sure my house is spotless every day and making sure it's presented right, to put $20,000+ more in my pocket at the end of the day. So, I mean, would you both agree on that part of it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, honestly, you can tell your sellers too, isn't it more valuable to sell your house quickly and for more money than to go through the pain of every day having to get up and make sure it's clean and make sure it's ready? And, if you could just get under contract in those first few days, the pain is done.
Yeah.
You went through the pre-pain to get to it.
100%. Well, very, very good. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else that any of you guys want to throw in on this?
I think you did a great job covering all the points.
I think we covered most of the basics, and of course, we'll get your information that way. If people want to dive into it a little bit more, if they want to get your checklist, if they want to have you out for consultations, they can reach out to you directly. Or, of course, I prefer every seller call me and I hire you guys to do that. But I do realize some people have family and friends in the business, so I can't help all 2,000 in a year. But Aundrelyn, what is the best way for someone to connect with you and contact you?
You can go to my website. It's petersonandplum.com. I don't have a book now or anything like that on it, but my phone number's on there. And it's just, I'm readily available. So I'm a people pleaser. I hardly ever say no.
Readily available. You can't, in this business, you have to be readily available, don't you? You miss something for 5 minutes and people move to
boy.
And Adam, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Our website is probably the best way. It's noco.x4photos.com. My contact info is there, whether email or cell phone, but you can also kind of book right online, which is hopefully helpful for everybody. But if you need, you can reach out to me direct.
Yeah, I love the website where you can book online and everything, and it makes it so much easier. Sometimes, like when I'm at a seller's, kitchen table finishing up the paperwork, I'm just like, okay, when should we book this? And we can for the next day or a week out or whatever it is. So it's
exactly
really
right.
Super handy. So
you can kind of be like, cleaners are this day, and stagers are this day, and so when works for you, photos, and hopefully you can just do it right then and there. So that's great.
100%. Well, hey guys, thank you for taking your time out of your busy morning to do this. definitely look forward to many other conversations and of course transactions in the future. So with that, we'll wrap this meeting up, and I'll put your information below on this video so anyone watching this can reach out to you guys directly as well.
Sounds
Cool.
good.
Awesome.
Hey,
Hey,
thanks, Charles.
yep. Thank you. Have a
Thanks,
good
Aundrelyn.
rest of the day.
Take care. Bye.